Hello everyone and welcome to this special edition video. There's 370 slides to cover in this one. We're looking at new and old anomalies that are spotted at a site in Proctor. This is in a region of Mars called Noachis Terra. We're looking at a larger photograph. It's one of the largest photographs that I could find of this weird dune field in Proctor. The lovely Miss Michelle joins us again in the background for this one.
Hello everyone.
Let's have a look at the original source material, then I'll show you the anomalies. At the end of the video I've also tried to categorize, itemize and put together similar items for your viewing pleasure. Quite mind-blowing. Let's have a look at the original material now. Proctor Crater Dune Field. There's a brief description of this strange dune field. The larger ones and the smaller ones are explained as best NASA could in this one. Acquired on the 10th of June 2007 at a resolution of 28.2 centimeters per pixel. The JP2 black and white map projected file we're analyzing here is 1.6 gigabytes in size. And there's a look at the low-res black and white, a crop of this photograph. It's a high-res photograph, folks, but it's very bright and the contrast is quite low, so I had to adjust those. I don't know if it's due to the camera and the bright area at the time, but yeah, very, very bright and faded. And there's a look at the simulated color. This is provided to us by NASA, JPL Caltech and the University of Arizona. So we've got these larger dunes and the smaller ones in between. And from the description, it seems these smaller dunes, NASA speculates, consist of larger sort of granules or particles, and they're not as mobile as these larger ones that NASA speculates moves across this area at a higher rate of speed. But we're looking at the strange artifacts between these dunes. So the site's located here to the northeast of Proctor. You can see the small dune field inside. Proctor is approximately 150 kilometers in diameter. So that dune field over there, I'd estimate, is about 40 to 50 kilometers in length. This is at roughly, 46 degrees, 46 minutes south, 30 degrees, 38 minutes east. And the first item we're looking at there, folks, right there in the center of the screen, that strange cube with the customary smaller part or object right there on top in its center. The scale indicator gives you an idea of the size of these objects. So that's 20 meters there, 10. So this is roughly 10 meters in length. And the one side is about 8 meters across. A strange indentation on the one side there. And we're looking at the smaller block. This is about 6 meters across. The smaller part on the one side. It's got a slight curvature to it as well. Smaller one, this is about 4 to 5 meters across. It's got this recessed area, hollowed out area, if I could call it that, and a smaller part in the center of that hollowed out region. Right, then we're looking at the item over here, guys. It's about 20, 10, so this is about 12 meters in length. Slightly rounded corners to it. It's a rectangular part and a smaller object there or protrusion close to the center. We're looking at the weird item there, about 8 meters across. It's got this hollowed out area on the inside, and that narrow part bridging the gap, also a smaller object there on the inside. Right, then we're looking at the blocks over here. Those are about 12 meters in length. It's got this oval-like shape on the center. Looks like it's been cracked, but then again, that is darker, so could it be a different type of material? It's difficult to tell. We're looking at the item over there, about 12 to 14 meters across, and it's got this right angle piece on the top, and I'll show you many more like this towards the end of the video. We're looking at the oval part there, about 15 meters in length, with a semicircular smaller part in the center, and there's more of those in this photograph as well. We're looking at that disc 10 meters across and a smaller part close to the center. And of course, there's so many of these as well. There's another one of disc shape to it, smaller part in the center. It's got a rectangular shape to it as well, that there could be slightly recessed or hollowed out as well. This also looks like it could be an opening. Right, then we're looking at the block or slab over here to the bottom. It's about 8 meters across, and it's got this weird sort of parabolic shape to the part on the top, and there's many more like this as well in this photograph. I'll show you those towards the end as well. Another sort of disc shape, smaller parts close to the center. Right, here we're looking at the long narrow part there. It's about 12 meters in length, and it looks like we've got something sticking out of what could be an opening there, folks. Rather odd. It's got a good edge to it as well. 3 maybe distinct layers to it. Not quite sure what to make of that. Could it be some type of sheet metal? It looks very thin as well. Right, then we're looking at the strange heart-shaped object there. The symmetry and geometry of this piece is uncanny, folks. Natural phenomenon, absolutely it could be. I just thought I'd show you that shape. It's very irregular, you don't find many of those on Mars. Then the disk, it's about 10, that's about 10 meters in diameter. Small triangular part in the center there. Rectangular item over there, folks, about 8 meters in length. Nice right angles to it. Smaller protrusion or knob in the center. Very much like those that we find at ruins down in South America. We're looking at the strange dome-like object there. It's about 2010. That's about 6 meters in diameter. And there's more of those. Let's check out the long narrow object over here to the left. That I'd say is about 15 to 18 meters in length. And it's got this strange, looks almost like it's folded over this larger piece. Look at the edge over here. Very similar angles to this thinner piece on either side. Right, here we're looking at another block or slab, about 14 by 14 meters in size. Straight edges to it, right angles, and then the usual suspect right there close to the center. Right, let's have a look at this. It looks almost like a turtle with a head sticking out over there on the one side. This is about 10 to 12 meters across. Check out the smaller part here. And there's anomalies similar to this, where there's a smaller item sticking out on the right hand side. Cool, let's have a look at that. The disc over there, about 5 to 6 meters across. On that larger part, slightly elevated to the top right. It's slightly skew on this larger piece. Looks almost as if this also spirals up and around that disc. Right, there's more of these in this photograph as well. That there's about 10 meters in length. Looks like it's slightly rounded as well. Parallel sides. Zoom in on this piece. And it's got a semicircular smaller object there on the top, and we'll have a look at more of those as we proceed with the video. Check out the sort of dish shape over here. It's about 6 meters across, hollowed out. Right, we're looking at a block or a slab there. That piece that's sticking out is about 9 to 10 meters in length. The uniformity in its thickness, nice right angles and smooth surfaces to it as well. And there's more blocks in this photograph. This one I featured in the past as well. It's got this strange sort of disc shape embedded in this highly irregular shape. So that disc there is about 4 to 8 meters across. Right, let's have a look at this. It's got this triangular smaller piece on the top of that. There's more of those. And this item on the top of this block also falls into a different category. Lots of those as well. And this is a very strange shape. It's about 10 meters across. Looks very similar to those blocks that we find at ancient sites in South America, where those blocks seem to be melted or molded to fit next to one another like a jigsaw puzzle. And then the smaller raised edge over there of the object on the inside. There's one similar to that. I'll show that to you in a moment as well. Then this shape is also rather common in this area. I don't know what this could be. It's slightly covered in sand and dust. Look at the neatly rounded corners to it. Another triangular raised part, and the apex is slightly bent down. Right, then we're looking at this one. I also featured this one a while ago. The smaller disc over here, or rounded part, is about 6 to 8 meters across. Look at this part here. Looks like it spirals up onto the top of the larger part. It's also rather odd. It looks like there was mud here and this thing slid across the surface and embedded itself here. Pushed some of the sand or mud up here to the left. Right, let's have a look at this one. Another odd oval shape. It looks almost like a fingernail on that one. Another weird disc shape. Something going on there. Close to the center. There's another one of those dome or spherical shapes on the center of that larger piece. Alright, check out the oval part here and that strange parabolic shape, the item on top. Alright, here we're looking at a smaller rectangular part on top of this, which also looks very artificial, like the blocks that we find at sites down in South America. Right, let's have a look at this. This strikes me to be weird as well, this rectangular part. And we'll see more of those in a moment as well. Small square item in the center of this piece. I wonder if it was joined, if it cracked, or if this opening or slot is intentional. You get a lot of these on Mars where there's a smaller item. It seems to bridge that gap on the top. Right, let's have a look at this strange triangular piece jutting out towards the right on this item. Check out the slot and the almost symmetrical shape going on here, guys. Cool, let's have a look at this item. The long narrow part there is about 6 to 8 meters in length. It also looks very out of place. Right, check at this. Uniformity in the width. Then it's got this rounded shape to it. And it also looks as if this is sticking out of, could that be a slight opening? Cool. Check out the triangular shape there on the center of this piece. And this is quite common in this photograph as well. Strange item. It's almost like a tic-tac on this piece. This reminds me of a mushroom. That's 2010, so this is about 10 meters across. The smaller, darker part there in its center. It's got this rounded shape to it. Almost like a mushroom seen from above. Right, another rectangular block or slab with a triangle shape on the top, right there in its center. Square item here with rounded corners and the usual suspect there on the top. Okay, this is also rather strange. The two weird similar parts here with these smaller parts in their centers, and that pattern is repeated here as well in this photograph. Another odd disc shape with the smaller part in the center. That's about 3 meters across, guys. Let's get this. We've seen this shape or similar shapes to this in the photograph as well. Check this strange dome shape, and there's that other item that we looked at earlier. It's got a very similar shape to this with the smaller part almost at the same location as in the other one. We'll have a look at the comparison towards the end of this video. Check out the 90-degree angle here. Cool. That there, very weird, about 18 meters in length. The strange shape over here towards the right. Very odd. Right, let's have a look at this. I like the way this is lying diagonally across this. That edge there, 90 degrees to this rounded part. Very neat. Right, we're looking at the partially covered item over here to the left, and it looks as if it's been ripped open. Check that out. Parallel with this one side. Right, and it just continues on and on. Check this out. Smaller part there in the center. Okay, this I'm not sure. Could it have been like a round disc shape, broke in half, or was there another half that moved away? This is about, let's see, 16 meters in diameter. Look at the smaller disc, slightly angled over there in the center. Right, got the item over here as well. Very bright, nice right angles to it, straight edges. There's more of these. Check out the block over here to the left. It's about 6 meters to 7 meters across. And there's more blocks like this as well. This strikes me to be rather odd as well. This piece sticking out of the center of this block. Right, we're looking at the rectangular shape down here. Is it a block or a slab? And it's got the smaller square over there on the one side, parallel with those edges. Right, let's have a look at this. This rounded corner and the 90-degree angle there says to me this could possibly be artificial as well. Okay, check out the item there in the center, 90-degree angle, and then the strange sort of parabola to this shape, the small item on top. Right, there's another one of these long, narrow, rectangular pieces, about 8 to 9 meters in length. The uniformity in it as well. And then this piece, rather odd. It's got the small item sticking out of the right hand side, right there in the center of the side. And that we see quite often as well. Check out this item. It's got this partial dome-like shape to it on the right hand side. And then there's another one not far from it over here to the right. Alright, then that geometry and symmetry to the shape like this I've shown earlier is repeated here again. The small item there in the center. This is about 12 meters long. Nice curvature and symmetry to this. Okay, partial disc shape there with a small dome or sphere on it. It's about 6 meters across. Nicely in the center of that there. Okay. Long narrow part again. Slot a bevel right through the one side, and then a smaller object jutting out to the right, sort of in the center of that one side as well. And there's more of those blocks. Check the angle out there, 90 degrees. Straight edges, very smooth, flat surfaces. And then the rounded parts here. And that there looks like it could be another block underneath. Right, let's zoom in on this. Again, this looks like a very thin piece of sheet metal. A smaller circular part in its center. There's that pattern that's repeated, the two sort of similar block sizes, 6 meters across, with these smaller items on the top right there in their centers. This is also quite huge. I'd say that's about 15 to 18 meters long. Small part bridging the gap between the two. Okay, there's another one of those smaller rectangular parts that just seems totally out of place here. This is a weird item. Very unique. Small disc-like shape there on this item. Multiple layers to this rectangular part that there's about 10 meters in length. The pictures speak for themselves. Another one of these where the smaller part sticks out on the right hand side, very close to the center of the side. Right, there it's again. Straight edge, the small part sticking out on the right hand side. There's also a smaller triangular part on that. another disc, this partial dome-like part on the top in its center. Also looks as if that spirals up slightly and around that item. Okay, another block or slab, slot in it, or could that be another triangular area there on the top? Right, here we've got another little block on top of this highly eroded rectangular part. The multiple layers to this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. The nice right angles of these pieces. This is about 8 meters in length. Odd. One of these domes or spheres. They're all about the same size. From about 5 to 8 meters in diameter. Another one of these odd shapes. About 10 meters across. The shape. It's like a plectrum shape, pointing to the center of this one side. Strange obelisk type shape here, about 8 meters in length. Alright, let's have a look at this. This is a huge piece. It's about 20 meters long. The part there on the top. This piece sticking out on the right, very close to the center of this one side. Looks as if it's been torn. Or is that a slot parallel with this one side? Right, time for comparisons. Check out these small items. These are in slightly recessed areas. Right, then we've got these rectangular parts with the smaller parts close to their centers. Semicircles of these smaller items. And look at the size, very similar. Then we've got these odd shapes repeated on these items. Little triangles. Strange mushroom shapes. These smaller parts in their centers. Yeah, as well, what the heck is going on here, guys? Then those small domes. All about the same size. And there, those two items, very, very similar shapes to them. I like the smaller objects located on the narrow sides. Check. Okay, there's that odd shape. Okay, yeah, was this one big disc like this one, that piece that's moved away, similar sort of idea, the object in the centers. Here we've got the smaller parts sticking off the right hand sides of these items. Also similar in the blocks, and then these oddballs. And those two smaller items on similar parts next to one another. And the smaller rectangular parts okay, let's shoot off to Noachis Terra into Proctor. We're looking at the Dune Field here, and just briefly let's go through the list of anomalies we just covered. Okay, so the age-old question: are we looking at signs of intelligent design and manufacture in these? Some of them, all of them? Are we looking at a weird process or processes in nature that produce these? The similarity, not necessarily the exact shape and size, but the similarity in these anomalies is what gets to me, guys and girls. Sorry. Right, let's have a look. Carry on down the list. Sorry, it's a bit jerky. So it happens when there's a lot of images in a pop-up in Google Earth Mars. I think we're looking at least in some of these, we're looking at some form of artificiality, some form of intelligent design and manufacture. And Carl Sagan once said, if you're looking for intelligent design elsewhere in the universe, look for symmetry and geometry. And I think I've proved beyond a reasonable doubt by now already, and especially in this video, that we are seeing symmetry and geometry in these anomalies. Check it that. Small block, smaller item. Block there is the same size as that one. What happened here in Proctor? That's the question. Check, another one of those long narrow blocks. I really hope you like this one, guys and girls. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate your viewership and support. And for those of you that comment, I read every comment. I try and reply to each one, but I do read your comments, and for that I thank you. Michelle and I will see you in the next one, hopefully very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.